Hello and welcome to the Slingshot Channel. Today's episode is about kunai knives. They are really nice, not expensive and super effective. Let me show you their features. First of all, I love that they're super inexpensive. Like 12 of them in a package like this set you back about 30 euros, maybe 32 or so. So each one costs you less than 3 euros. And I think that's excellent value for the money. Actually, a pack consists of 6 of the silvery ones and 6 of the anodized ones. Or I think that's probably, I don't know, lacquered or so. I think that's just because if you want to do a throwing contest with your friend, then you can easily separate which one belongs to whom. They are really thin, like 3 millimeters only. A little bit wrapped with some paracord. They are very, very, very pointy. And also sharp, which isn't really necessary because they're throwing knives. And throwing them is really easy, like this. Ha! Super fun. Alright, how can we make them more badass? Because for this kind of price, I think I have a lot of ideas about what we can do. Alright, you've seen it before, but I want to present it to you one more time. My kunai shooter. It's a repeater. It holds 6 kunai knives in its magazine. Very easy to feed them in. Just like this, and you close the latch. And then you're ready to fire. Shooting it is really easy. You simply pump, and then you can fire. And then you can repeat, and do that rather quickly. Okay, that is fun, but will it actually stick in the police shield? Let's find out. Wow, it does! Okay, these are very good throwing knives. But of course, like all throwing knives, what they don't have is a proper handle. You know, there is really nothing to protect your fingers from slipping over, and the handle is almost non-existent. This certainly isn't a fighting knife. The question is, can we make a fighting knife from one? I think so. And here's the original that I selected to go for a copy. The legendary Fairbairn Sykes fighting knife. Let me show you its features. This model isn't an original, it's actually a copy. I don't know anything about the history of this knife, maybe you guys have an idea. It came in this sheath, which I don't think is original. This sheath is actually looking more like a cowboy knife, but it fits the knife perfectly well. It actually carries the Great Seal of Oklahoma. Not sure if you can see this well, but I have no idea what Oklahoma has to do with the Fairbairn Sykes knife. Anyway, the blade of this one is actually folded, which also is unusual. And I think it's a brass handle. However, it has the same shape and the same blade length as the original. The inventors of this knife, Lieutenant Colonel Fairbairn and Major Sykes, actually served in the Shanghai military police when they invented the knife in the 1930s. And they actually had been in a lot of fights. A lot of knife fights, hundreds of them probably, so they knew the business, and that's how they came up with this shape. You hold this just like if you would go for foil fencing, like this. So this is the stance that you normally should have. And that is because in a knife fight you always come sideways, and you know, you fight like this, and therefore this is a very, very good handle. It's really like the grip of an Italian foil. Now this part here, it's not a pommel. I know, the only way to finish off your opponent in style, blah, blah, blah. But this actually is only done to easily lift it from the sheath. Lieutenant Colonel Fairbairn had an own opinion about pommels. He said, why not just stab the guy and be done with it? And I think that's the right approach. So this is not a knife for self-defense. This is a knife to attack someone. That's what it's designed for. So it would actually be used in a covered operation where you would sneak up on your opponent, like let's say a guard or something, and you would grab his hair or maybe his entire head, and then you would jam the knife into his throat so that it pokes out on the other side, and then you would thrust it to the front to sever all the cartilage and the windpipe and everything. Because that's the only way how to stab someone and be certain that he can't make a sound. That is the brutality of the Fairbairn Sykes design. If we compare the two knives, then of course you see that it's a whole different world. But you can see that the blade shape actually is not so unsimilar. They're both very pointy and thin-bladed. And of course the handle is entirely different. But I think we can make a Fairbairn style fighting knife from this. And here is what I came up with. Meet the $3 Kunai Fairbairn Sykes conversion. Let me show you its features. As you see, the handle is now very much alike. But of course I made this one from wood and attached it solidly with a lot of glue and screws. So it's still very lightweight. I mean, this only weighs about, I don't know, maybe 80 grams, and this is 300 grams. So this is a very lightning fast small knife, but you can handle it in the same way like you can handle the original Fairbairn. So this one has the typical like panhandle part here. I secured it with rubber. What else? Always must be some rubber. And this works really, really well. It holds it firmly, and you can simply slip it over the pommel, and then there it is. The main part is made from wood. What else? I'm not a very good leather worker. So I made it from 3 layers of thin plywood, and then I dyed it. Actually, I inked it with black ink and then oiled it to give it some kind of a, nice finish. And what I usually don't like on wooden shafts is that they rattle, and also easily the knives can slip out. This doesn't happen here. And that is because what I did is, you see, it comes out with a little bit of resistance. I took a part of the wood and sawed it in, and now I'm using it as a spring. So if I put in the knife, you see that the part of the wood that serves as a spring presses against it, actually a little bit reinforced by the leather. And this means that it has just the perfect amount of resistance. Doesn't fall out, but it's very easy to get it out. I like that. It now is a really comfortable belt knife, and dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. The next challenge, I mean, this is obviously a fixed knife. Can we make an automatic knife, like a switchblade from it? Well, we've done some switchblade work recently before. Remember my little IKEA switchblade? And the principle really works good because it's rubber powered. What else? And it has a lot of force. So I'm thinking maybe we can make a full auto knife from a kunai using this method. And here is what I came up with. The first kunai switchblade. Let me show you its features. I know I say this very often in this video. Sorry for that. It's just so many things that I have to show you. So this one also is powered by rubber. As you see, there is a single rubber band in here. And it actually snaps open. So there is enough force. It locks down here. So you close it like this and then it locks. And if you want to open it, you simply press on this button and it snaps open. Now the typical wise butts will come along and will say, this is longer than 8.5 centimeters and it has 2 edges, so it's illegal in Germany. Well, it's not. Why not? Because it's a slip joint. It's not automatically locking, and the law defines an illegal switchblade as a switchblade that locks automatically in the open position. So like, when you release the button, it locks. And this one doesn't do it. This doesn't really make it bad for fighting, because it still locks in this one direction. So you can still stab with it and slash. Not a problem. And even if you mishandle it and it closes accidentally on you, then, what touches your fingers is not the blade, but the blunt part. I love it because it's so powerful, just by the rubber. See what kind of kick it has? Alright, now on to the final badassing of the kunai. You see, this one really is a good fighting knife now, but of course it has disadvantages. First of all, it's really light, and in a knife fight, you need some heft. Therefore, we need to attach some weight to the knife. And also, I respect Lieutenant Colonel Fairbairn and Major Sykes, but I disagree with that kind of handle. I want something solidly in my fist, and therefore I need a more meaty handle. Also, I want some detail that hasn't been done before that really is badass. So, here is what I came up with. So this is the light dagger kunai knife conversion. Let me show you its features. As you see, it has a fairly thick handle that's really good for my meaty paws. It has an embedded 30mm steel ball, so you can really use it for blunt trauma. And of course it has 2 ThruNite T01 lights embedded. And you can use them just like a flashlight, but you can also use it to blind your attacker. This is when they're off. I used bird's eye maple veneer for the scales because I really wanted to keep this thin. And as you can see, if you want to include 2 of these lights, you can't make it any thinner than this. But it's really comfortable to hold. ThruNite, as you know, is one of my sponsors. It's probably my main sponsor right now. And they sent me plenty of these great TO1 lights that I love for 2 reasons. First of all, they are incredibly bright for the size. This is 125 lumen. So my knife actually has a total of 250 lumen now. And it also has only one mode, which I love. Because the lights with several modes, you always have to turn and turn and turn until you have the right one. This one only has the brightest, and that's exactly what I want. These are also very affordable. One of these currently costs about $7 on the ThruNite website. Link down below. You can also buy it on Amazon. And I think it's great value for the money. Also, ThruNite is really a service-oriented company. Like the warranty and everything is really superb. I recommend them, and not just only because they sponsor me. During the night, I think it really looks cool. Doesn't it look just like a lightsaber? I think it also is great for intimidating your opponent. But it also really is bright and helps you seeing your opponent. Interesting is, see what happens when I turn one of the lights out. You can really see that then only half of it is shining, and if I turn it on again, then I have the full illumination. And always this super spooky fireblade. And of course, these very strong lights, like a total of 250 lumen, will blind anyone within no time. Actually, you cannot really see in that without being blinded. So, this is probably the last thing you see before you get stabbed in the throat. I really like that knife, not just only because of the Halloween effects. So, I hope you liked my little badassery project of $3 kunai knives. Because that's it for today. Thanks and bye-bye. I knew it would work.